proving once again that I am an idiot. I keep telling you guys that. I know you probably believe me by now. Finally got the trigger system working the way it's supposed to. So what we found out was that the trigger is basically reset by a clock coming in. So when trigger is asserted, the rising edge of the clock asserts it, the next rising edge deasserts it, and the problem on the effect on the front panel side, on the GUI side, is that the sample rate of the GUI, which is set here at 200 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, or 25 milliseconds, sets up how many triggers you're going to get if it's there for longer than that. So your trigger cannot be asserted here faster than this. And that is why we were getting a gajillion triggers before. So to that end, we've created this module over here called FastTrig. And those of you following along in the blog know that I've been having some real problems with this. But shoot, just getting me a D flip-flop working took an inordinate amount of time, a day probably. So that tells you where I am in understanding Verilog at this point. I am beginning to think that one of my problems is trying to separate the functions out too much, that I should, here I've kind of globbed them all together in one group, whereas before I had reset over here, and then what's going on with the clock over here, and so on. No, but anyway, so now we use the same trigger circuit that we did before, and I say start, and I must have missed, there we go. And our board is counting, and when we get to F, ta-da, we're done, and we got exactly one trigger back. And that was through the FastTrig module. It is taking a schematic version of it that I put together. The trigger comes in, it's delayed one clock cycle, and it's reset. And then our clock is inverted to ensure that the trigger signal is there when a rising edge happens. So, all done, and maybe someday I will understand how this stuff works. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye.